Hello there. European Union negotiators are blaming the UK for a lack of progress in the UK-EU Brexit trade talks. Firstly, please give this video a like to give my channel a boost, and I'm always uploading new videos, so please do check back daily. Now, at a press conference today, the EU Chief Brexit negotiator Michel Barnier said that the UK side was dragging its feet over the post-Brexit trade talks. He said that progress in the key areas of this second round of talks that ended today had been disappointing. Now, I did a video a few days ago called Brexit Talks Start Monday on the timetabled items for discussion this week, and commented that it looked very EU-centric to me and that I couldn't therefore see much progress being made. Looks like I was right. The agenda was, after all, full of stuff like fishing and level playing fields. Now, in his post-talks press conference, Michel Barnier said that the aim of this second round of talks was to get progress across all the strands of talks, including what he called the most difficult areas, in parallel. And that, he said, would also apply to the next sets of talks as well. And on this he said, "However, my duty today as negotiator is to tell you the truth. That goal of achieving parallel progress on all areas was only very partially achieved this week. While it is true this round did enable us to identify areas where our positions are close, at least on the technical level, but I regret that the United Kingdom refused to engage seriously on a number of fundamental issues. Issues that we did not pull out of our hat. They can be found quite precisely in the political declaration that we agreed with Boris Johnson. This document must be implemented seriously, precisely and objectively. I regret to say that this is not yet the case." And then he went on to say, "We cannot accept to make selective progress on a limited set of issues only. We need to make progress on all issues in parallel. We need to find solutions on the most difficult topics. The UK cannot refuse to extend the transition and, at the same time, slow down discussions on important areas." And there are 4 areas over which he is unhappy with progress on, or more likely unhappy with UK non-compliance with. The first of these is, yes, you've guessed it, the level playing field. And it seems that our UK negotiators, headed up by David Frost, have done what they should be doing, playing hardball in the interests of the UK, and not just kowtowing to Eurocrats. Now, Barnier wants the UK to play the part of the small submissive party here by agreeing to abide by EU rules across all manner of things like state aid, social standards and environmental standards. And he talked about preventing unfair trade distortions and unjustified competitive advantages, along the lines of those the EU has used against the UK these past few decades. But the UK is a sovereign nation and we can decide these things for ourselves. We do not need to be controlled from the outside in these matters. And being controlled in that way would in all probability make recovery from our encounter with the invisible enemy 10 times harder than it would otherwise be. And Barnier finished on this section by saying, "Let me remind you of what I said already, and what my mandate clearly states. There will be no ambitious trade deal without an ambitious level playing field on open and fair competition." These proposals from Brussels sound just like not leaving the EU to me. Then to the next of his areas of concern, governance. Who'll be in charge? And the EU wants a single framework covering everything, whereas the UK wants separate agreements for different areas. And the reason the EU wants the single framework is so that so-called common values can be built in, i.e. the ones that the EU wants built in. And also that we must stay in the European Convention on Human Rights, that does so much to undermine the victims and so much to further the rights and aims of criminals. And then he said, third, the partnership cannot deliver on the high level of ambition expressed in the political declaration without the UK recognising the role of the European Court of Justice when we use concepts of union law, especially for the exchange of personal data. So we use EU law and the Brussels view of what our rights should be and have it all decided by the European Court of Justice. Once again, sounds just like being in the European Union to me. How about you? Then Barnier says that we must provide firm guarantees on rights and individual freedoms. Those rights and freedoms are laid out in our own UK law. Once again, we don't need anyone else out there telling us how to run our country. Especially the European Union, that runs the rights-bashing European arrest warrant, that allows people to be arrested across EU internal borders, then held for ages in some member states without charge in awful conditions until the law can be bothered to get round to dealing with them. Barnier also says that we are insisting on lowering current standards and deviating from agreed mechanisms of data protection. Now, we all understand data protection is important, but some of the stuff the EU foists on us appears to be oppressive and probably holds companies back from doing legitimate business. And why do I get the feeling that agreeing with the EU on this one would put them in charge of UK data? Just like being a member state, isn't it? And then we come to fisheries. And Barnier is not happy that the UK hasn't just rolled over and handed its waters over to the EU in perpetuity. On this, the EU Chief Brexit negotiator said, "Finally, we made no progress on fisheries. On this essential topic, the UK has not put forward a legal text. We have made no tangible progress despite the political declaration stating that we should make our best endeavours to reach an agreement by July. This is necessary to provide sufficient clarity for EU and UK fishermen and also for all businesses linked to fisheries. The EU will not agree to any future economic partnership that does not include a balanced, sustainable and long-term solution on fisheries. That should be crystal clear to the UK." But the UK is putting forward a legal text. It's the Fisheries Bill that lays down exactly how the UK will be taking back full control of its waters after the 31st of December this year. I'm sure Michel Barnier must have seen that. Michel Barnier also wanted progress on setting up customs checks for goods moving from Britain into Northern Ireland, something that will no doubt be brought up in the meeting of the Specialised Committee on the Protocol on Ireland/Northern Ireland next Thursday the 30th of April. After that, there will be 2 more sessions like we've seen this week, one starting on the 11th of May and the next on the 1st of June. Then sometime in June there will be a high-level meeting to take stock of progress, where the EU would very much like the UK to agree to a Brexit implementation period extension. But as we all know, this is at present impossible to do, because it is illegal under UK law, the Withdrawal Agreement Act, for anyone to agree to any extension, and also illegal for anyone to use the written procedure that could be used to agree an extension to the period. This is 2 sovereign nations wanting different things. The sovereign UK wants its independence, and the European Union, that has sovereignty over 27 other member states, wants the UK to agree to hand its recently hard-won sovereignty back over to Brussels. So you have to wonder if the same exercise in EU finger-pointing will take place at the end of the next 2 sessions as well. All in the name of trying to wring a Brexit extension from us. But do remember that Barnier said there would be no ambitious deal unless we allowed Brussels to rule a level playing field and to also continue to effectively control our fishing grounds. Now there's only 67 days until the 30th of June, the last day on which a Brexit extension could be agreed. After that, we leave the implementation period on the 31st of December, deal or no deal. And we all know that the Rejoin the EU campaigners will be screaming their little heads off for an extension. And if this lockdown ends, expect them all to start marches and protests and stuff, with posters saying how everyone wants to extend and then stay in the European Union. We've heard it all before, and this is something that the lockdown may have spared us for the last few weeks. Although given the choice, I'd say drop the lockdown and I'd put up with any of the rejoiner antics. And I do have to wonder if we're just wasting our time here anyway, because with Italy on the verge of leaving the EU, how much longer will there be a single market and customs union to trade with? Anyway, if you want to hear more from me, please don't forget to subscribe and also press that little bell, or you won't get any notifications. And if you want to see more of me, buy a mug with my mug on it. So what do you think about all of this? Please share and comment, and thank you for watching.